Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Let me start off with my guest this morning. My guest, I have Dr. Tony Ofoyeton, lawyer and DG, International Institute of Professional Security. As always, thank you very much, Tony, for coming on.
Thank you, Uncle Yori. Thank
my
you,
pleasure,
Nigerians.
Sir. And Mr. Jide Ologun, lawyer and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
It just so happens that both of you are lawyers, but and lawyers in any case are advocates, and so lawyers usually, you know, when it comes to analyzing a matter, you're safer with lawyers than most, arguably. Now, it's because it's a very important subject. There we were minding our business, and then you know, I think in the later half of the day, there was a press release from Mr. Adesina, who is spokesman for the president, one of the two main spokesmen for the president. And he put out a very, very serious press release to the effect that the Department of State Services had indeed provided unimpeachable, you know, intelligence that there actually are those among us that are planning, you know, a forceful removal, or at least a removal out of the ordinary, which is every 4 years we go to the election, that there are those who he called them misguided elements who are doing their best to wreak havoc in the government sovereignty and corporate existence of Nigeria. And he was quite, you know, copious in the statement, because he said that, again, just paraphrasing it slightly, this is being championed by disgruntled religious and past political leaders. Now, everybody has read the statement by now, but it's a bit unusual. We don't usually hear these kind of sentiments, but then we have heard them, which says to maybe all that the presidency is also hearing what's going on. You might think that the presidency, because I think the biggest communication channel for most Nigerians, at least those that are connected, would be social media. So clearly they also are party to all the kind of stuff going on. There's all sorts of videos going on, all sorts of statements. And so we've come to this pass where since it is by Mr. Adesina, Femi Adesina, special advisor to the president on media and publicity, since it is him, you therefore get the impression that they are taking this very, very seriously. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have said anything. Now, from a security point of view, let's look at this, Tony. Things are bad in the country. Nobody has denied that. They can get better, of course. Most Nigerians are positive. It will get better. But I imagine people want people to have done something by now, that is those who run our affairs, to have given us some indications that we actually are on the road to recovery. A lot of people in their judgment have said that they've not seen any such thing. Now the government is speaking this way. What does this say to you as to the seriousness of these threats? Because they also say, among other things, that they will deal decisively with anybody who proceeds along the lines that I had spoken, and then, quote unquote, no matter whose feathers are ruffled. Tony, no matter whose feathers are ruffled, do they know, to continue the analogy, do they know of any feathers? And if so, why aren't we dealing with those feathers, quote unquote, instantly, apart from these warnings? How do you read the whole thing from a security perspective?
I think my first impression when I had Adesina make such press release was more or less like a man or an institution that is not facing the true reality of events in the country. I don't know if recently, in the last 1 year, Adesina had traveled on the road. Maybe just an average of 100-kilometer journey without escort, without police to and fro. And then at the end of the day, you now ask him, how is your blood pressure like? Most likely there wouldn't have been things like this. But having said so, the issue of a group of people trying to remove the president and all those stuff like that from, according to him, DSS intelligence report. The little I know about the way it works is that if things like that truly happen, naturally the DSS will invite those that are involved and would also quiz them. And if they are quizzed and if it is established, it's most likely going to be something that you have a face attached to. I'm sure you would have had series of such like that. Nnamdi Kanu is a very practical example that you can easily pinpoint. Now, for me, these are more or less like a distractive statement to give Nigerians what next to discuss instead of facing the true reality of events. If you look at what is happening in the country, what I expect the government to do is to really look at a security master plan. Now let us assume as it is now that you are not ready to pay ransom to kidnappers, which is the in thing now, kidnapping, community attacks and the like. Then the question is, what are the plans that are on ground security-wise? That, okay, those that have been kidnapped, what can we do to make sure that they are released? And eventually when they are released, what can we do next to prevent there being subsequent abductions and kidnapping and the like? Because if you ask me today, the average Nigerian is afraid to travel from Lagos to Ibadan, just 100 kilometers and the like. To say you want to even go to Ijebu-Ode here, which is just about maybe 30, 40 kilometers, you are petrified. I think that the president should really come with the true reality. If you have a president that have really gained the patronage and the love of Nigerians, I think Buhari is a beneficiary. If you look at, compare the previous government, attack on previous government vis-a-vis attack on this government, you will see that the attack is more on the government, much more than the person called Buhari. Unlike previous government, the attack will be on Obasanjo, the attack will be on Jonathan and the like. You will see people mentioning their names, but now you see a government where people tend to reverence the president, respect him, and look at him as a father, and left him at that position. The least he can do is to bring out the true political will. I'm not talking of political will to make sure that all the security challenges are attended to one by each. Nobody is interested in pulling down the government.
Okay.
We're all interested in peace in the country.
Indeed. Mr. Jide Ologun, the special advisor to the president, Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, had said that the discredited individuals that he's talking about, to make matters worse, are in cahoots with external forces to cause maximum damage in their own country. And then, as I said, that ominous sentence. But the presidency, already vested with the mandate and authority by Nigerians till 2023, pledges to keep the country together, even if some unruly feathers will be ruffled in the process. So you see, it's a quite comprehensive statement in terms of, it's like the presidency is saying that I got my eyes on you, we know who you are, you know, all you tribal jingoists, all you religious leaders. Well, it probably won't be religious because the presidency does have respect for religious personnel, but I imagine they would add so-called to the kind of religious leaders that they are talking about. Your reaction to the statement?
I must first commend the acknowledgement of the governmental mandate to secure the people of Nigeria. I thank Mr. Femi Adesina for that and for assuring us that the president is awake to that responsibility. And the next question we need to ask is, what are the symptoms we are seeing in the society that will make anyone begin to interpret, coming together and expressions that constitute an attempt to remove the president? I would like to go to content analysis.
Well, I think he is no doubt talking about underground plans that they are aware of. After all, it's not that anybody in the presidency, in an office in the presidency, has seen it. These are professionals. Intelligence has given them this information.
DSS
so it's underground information.
The DSS is reputed, and driven by intelligence. And that report is coming out. And I also commend that proactivity. All right? But I'm just saying, and some of the reasons given is that some people are beginning to meet ex-politicians, religious leaders. Under the Constitution, you have the right of association. and you can express how you feel about the country. And there is a fear that they may pass a vote of no confidence.
Yeah.
And I want to fault the position
that was also mentioned.
of whoever is saying that the only constitutional way to remove a leader in Nigeria is by the ballot. The National Assembly can impeach based on some terms and conditions. Whether where we are in Nigeria is critical enough to initiate that impeachment process is a different ball game. So, and having corrected that,
well, you say corrected. I take the point because you're being very, very academic about it.
Exactly.
Exactly, because it's not going to happen. The National Assembly, we are both witnesses of the National Assembly, and this National Assembly is not going to start the proceedings.
We should not subscribe to a lame system that may not come to the rescue of the people and permit the people to take laws into their hands. And that is the concern of some of us. We learned in school that we have 3 arms of government to operate as checks and balances. Where are the checks? Where are the balances now? You see, because even in the House of Representatives, they also are screaming. The minority there is rising up to say, no, the conditions in this country are not palatable. And another thing is that when you bring it to the public relations angle in monitoring trends, perhaps there is a preconceived plan to go for some prominent Nigerians, and we just want to release this caution ahead. You remember when the Order 10, the Executive Order 10 was released, I think May 22nd, 2020. It was to achieve a purpose. Before the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, the former Chief Justice of the Supreme Court was released and removed from office, there was an executive order pushed ahead. So some Nigerians may begin to prepare now. So when you begin to read that this person has been arrested, this person has been arrested, that is another side, and I don't think I'm jumping the guns. Now, let's come back to the reality on ground. I recall that in 31st of December 1983, the former president of Nigeria under the Second Republic, Alleges Shagari, was removed from office because a group came up to say the country was drifting into anarchy and they needed to restore the country to back to this a part of sanity and things like that.
But that wasn't a group. I think that was the army. And the army has also spoken, which
you have said it.
Which you want to probably factor in. The army in this dispensation has also said, again, if you want unprovoked, that we are not interested, we will not be party in any way, shape or form to a change of government.
There was a report on the 5th of December 2020 when the former Chief of Army Staff, Buratai, was addressing the generals that they should be careful, a cool scare. But the point I'm making is that let's all ask this simple question. What can lead to a coup in a country? Do we have those symptoms? If we have those symptoms, then we need to address those symptoms. Because, like Mr. Fuyato mentioned, this government has enjoyed a lot of grace from Nigerians, right from the inception.
A lot of goodwill.
So what exactly? So what exactly is this country? Is it the way a country should be? Are we where we are supposed to be? Agitation of kidnappings. Right now, some students are in the hands of kidnappers, and some are saying that those who kidnap them are not bandits, they are Boko Haram. It's like we have a governance system that has been made to kneel down before criminals. It's not an ideal situation. Some of us reject that. I'm not calling for coup. In fact, in this dispensation globally, it's not the right way to go. But let's look at our country, Nigeria. Rather than retort, and because I must also punctuate one of the key words used by Mr. Femi Adesina, making reference to those who are agitating for a better Nigeria as if they are howling or something like that. No, we are not wailers. Nigerians deserve prosperity. They deserve security. We deserve a sound economy in this country. And for that purpose, we have a government. And that mandate must be fulfilled.
Okay, yeah. But Tony, switching over to you, this whole bit about Nigerians have opted for democracy, a democratic form of governance, and that this administration will do everything it can to preserve that mandate, even if feathers are ruffled and they don't care whose feathers they happen to be. This is getting a bit closer, and he had said that might this be the beginning that, you know, well, government doesn't always tell you all that they do know, but certainly it looks as if they have their ear to the ground, what will be between them and DSS, and they're sort of serving notice that if people know what's good for them, they need to desist from these plans that they have good, he called it unimpeachable evidence. So we're not, this is not a chat. Well, this is a report.
You know, one thing is intelligence reports, there are things that the full report is always at the disposal of the recipient in terms of the principle of need to know,
yes,
and all those stuff like that. But if I have to subject it to the true reality on ground, democracy is not being challenged. It's not being challenged in any way whatsoever. What is happening rather is even to fortify democracy. There's no democratic government that you won't have opposition.
You know, even though, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tony, but if you look on social media, it doesn't, not all of them are even in English. Some of them are in our local languages, where people are openly calling for the president to step down, to move
There's
aside.
There's nothing spectacular about asking a president to resign, Uncle Yori.
There is, okay.
Nothing spectacular about asking a president to resign. Ask a president to resign does not mean you are forcing him to resign.
No, it doesn't.
Are you there with me? What you are simply telling him is that you are not doing what we expect you to do. The primary purpose of governance is what? The security and the welfare of the people.
But the implication that Mr. Adeshina is bringing to bear is that beyond that, you know, democratic right that you've just stated, people are working at it and are moving to create an atmosphere that will indeed lead to a change of governance, and that is what they can't sit by idly.
The issue is change of governance through which means? Through violence?
Through unconstitutional means.
Well, it's a product through unconstitutional means. For now, to me, it's an assumption, and it's also a product of what they said. I won't fault that, I won't doubt, but I'm talking based on as a Nigerian. Uncle Yori, you are not a better Nigerian. Both of us are Nigerian. Are you there with me? Once I have not done anything to contravene the provision of the law in this country, you cannot say you are better than me. But you may be well placed in that you are in government. Just like maybe Adeshina, Mr. President and the like are well placed today. And that is why the heat is on them. Not necessarily because of them as a person. But look at the policies that are on ground. Look at the people that we are talking about. It's easy for us to sit down in the studio today and analyze. Go to some places in Kaduna, go to Niger State, where even the governor had come out to say that flags have been hoisted in communities and villages. In the state where you are talking of democracy, then what is your definition of democracy? Where some other group of people have already technically overthrown the government in power there. And what are we talking about? You are not putting all your energy on the ones you can see. You are putting your energy on assumption and politics. Why must we politicize security? Why must we politicize the lives of people?
Is that what you think it is, a politicization of security?
For now, from what I'm seeing, Uncle Yori, from what I can see, vis-a-vis the security of the people in this country, I see more of the energy. Look at it. When Biafra or the IPOB, when they hosted flag, Python danced. But when bandit hosted flag in Niger State, rat is not dancing. Not to talk of lizard.
Python being the operational name the army gave to...
well, Uncle Yori, you can subject it to a lot of interpretation.
No, I'm just saying that was what the army called the group that
so that is what we are talking about, sir. We are talking about security. Look, in Ogun State here, go to the neighboring towns. Many of them are relocated from their villages. Recently, we heard of more than 3,000 people that were very close to military barracks in Okitipupa. What happened? Where are they from? Now, if you look at, even in Lagos State here, you have people that don't have houses. They ride Okada, they sell konkuba, they sell everything. No house, no accommodation, no wife, no family, nothing. If they commit a crime, there is nothing to hold them to. And you are talking of security. If anything happened and there is a central command, say, attack,
Uncle Yori, will you be in this studio today? That is what the government, as far as some of us are concerned, should be facing and should be talking about, and not talking about consolidating and somebody want to overthrow. Is it easy to plan a coup to overthrow government? Is it that easy?
It's even out of fashion.
So what are we talking
it's
about?
It's even out of fashion. We've heard it said that, look, that's the last thing we want in Africa, especially in our country.
And I doubt if President Muhammadu Buhari was even consulted before releasing this statement. This is a man who you can call.
Don't go there.
No. I said I doubt because it's about presidency.
Yeah, but additional
President Muhammadu Buhari
for himself.
Is a coup veteran. He was a strong force in the coup that removed Alleges Shagari, 31st of December 1983. He was the commander, the 3rd Armored Brigade in Jos.
Yes.
He was pushing into Chad. He was not even obeying the sitting president then, which caused a clamor, and excuses were thrown up to throw that government out of place. Yeah. He also was removed from office by coup. So he can be called a coup veteran. And he has told us that he will surround himself with people he knows. And from the body language of what we have seen in the military, I think he's the most secure president we have in the country. We should not even be talking about coup. We should be talking about the DSS now, focusing on how to deal with these nicknames that we have. Kidnappers, bandits, Boko Haram, ISWAP, this and that, terrorizing the nation. Do we know the impact of insecurity?
I hear you, but I just wanted to add in there, I hear you, I wanted to add in there that the president is not a soldier any longer. I know once a soldier, always a soldier, but the president is not a soldier anymore. He himself has said that he's constrained between looking at himself now and in his military days. Things he could have done by fiat, you can't do them anymore. So I don't know why you're smiling, but is that not a truth?
You know why I'm smiling? You know why I'm smiling? We are not appropriately evaluating the crisis we have in Nigeria. When you have insecurity, there are about 10 major things that can happen in that nation. Time won't permit me. Let me just mention about 5. You start losing foreign direct investment. It's happening. Your economy is disrupted. It's happening. You are isolated.
Well, COVID also contributed to that.
All countries suffered from, almost all countries.
I'm just saying.
Despite COVID-19, all schools in China reportedly have access to the internet. China is building an underwater rail system to connect Russia, America, and you see, China is booming economically. Yeah. So, COVID or no COVID.
Yeah, but you're not comparing us with China, are you?
I must. We are all in this world. Gambia? There is one world. You may refer to your own as third world, but God created one world. And that is the problem. So when are we going to start the development movement?
We have our own issues that we have to deal with, and you gentlemen know it. Monkey by grade, as our people say. We are dealing with other issues that they might consider as rudimentary or basic. And I'm not taking anything away from what you're saying. Neither am I a spokesman for, the government. But in trying to be fair here, you probably know that you can't begin to take what's gone on in the advanced world and say that, look how far back we are. We might be too far back for your liking. We can go and enjoy their medical services. We can be too far back for your liking.
We can send our children to their schools. We can import their technology to make our I mean, we need to wake up.
All of those things have continued to be said, and there has been no objection to them.
Let's change from it. They started, China embarked on the economy of isolationism to develop capacity. They are friends of Nigeria. We can develop the same capacity here. Let me say this, sir. Is anybody worried that NNPC has told us there may not be remittance of revenue to the Federation account by June?
Yeah.
Is anybody worried about that? Recently, Governor Obaseki said we printed 60 billion naira. We denied it frantically. Is anybody worried about the state of unemployment in this country? Okay. Is anybody worried about the inflation rate in this country? Is anybody worried about the kidnapping and the apprehensions in the land?
You know that those are rhetorical questions.
And
because
let DSS go and stop the crime against the land, the terrorism. Okay. Let them deploy the intelligence in that direction. And if there are coup plotters they have identified, go after them. Okay. Yeah, go after them. That's why you are there.
Now we've set the law of the ground. Let's take a quick break. We'll go away. When we come back very, very shortly, we'll open the phones and then we'll hear from home as well. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. And as we said, looking at a subject, it's not a very usual one, but we did hear from the presidency itself, no less, that there are those who are going around, so to speak, with a change of governance in their minds. Is the presidency overstating it? And that's what we've been looking at. Are they overstating the issue? Are they misinterpreting democratic people claiming their democratic rights? I understand that Mr. Olawale is on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Chief Yori Polani.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Yes, and good morning to the other two speakers there.
Sure.
Good morning.
I must confess, I am very, very happy and impressed with the contribution of the two speakers there. Highly impressed. Chief Yori, let me tell you, did you listen to Mr. Lai Mohammed yesterday?
Indeed.
He was trying to frantically saying that kidnapping banditry is not a federal offense and that the states should deal with it. All the states that are being ravaged by banditry, kidnapping, and the rest, they have no control over the commissioner of police. They can't give directive. The brigade commander, they cannot give directive. The corporate entity of Nigeria is being dismembered gradually in Nigeria. And the people who are supposed to take action, the federal government, is not taking action. We don't know whether those 17 girls have been murdered now. The Griffith students. Will that one do something good for the corporate image of Nigeria? There are some people that will commit offense in this country today. When you report them to the police, in the police station, nothing will happen. They will not take any action. We cannot continue like this. Nobody is planning any coup. If the DSS, if they have evidence, there are laws in Nigeria that are take care of those people. Take them to court. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawale, calling in from Ikorodu there. Indeed, as I say it again, all those things Mr. Lawale just said, which are not as many as those things that we have said in studio here, that are, quite frankly, wrong with Nigeria. Yesterday, we were even asking the question, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday, that it's like, who's in charge? Are bandits going to be telling us how we're supposed to be going? So we asked the rhetorical question, and now suddenly to hear, and this is following immediately after the army had then suddenly come up, it seemed to us like with no provocation, that we will not take over. We will not take over governance and all of that. And now this is the latest that we have coming from within the presidency itself, which is not in any, you see, those things that, especially that Jide has spoken about, so have you, that these are the rights of the people. Until now, the government has taken those things in its stride. They take this harsh criticism sometimes, but this time they're coming out to say that there is a difference. There are people preparing the ground, according to Femi Adesina's statement, for a state of turmoil, whereupon it would not then be totally out of, reasoning for such an event as a change of governance by not by constitutional means. Yes. Okay. I hear Mr. Sonny. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Sonny. You're on.
Morning. How are you?
How are you? Go ahead, please.
Please, can I talk to Uncle Yori?
Please, you have reached the program.
Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm one of your fans. I'm one of your fans listening to your program all the time. But the program you are doing presently, the ones you do from 11 till 12. The only thing is that, please, I want to just to talk to you. At times, you.
Did you want to contribute to the subject we're discussing today, sir? The statement released by Mr. Femi Adesina, the presidential spokesman.
When your disturbance are talking, so you normally disrupt them. So,
look, please, sir. Contribute if you have anything to say. We want to hear from you. Anything? Okay, sir. Unfortunately, we just want to hear from you. Please don't waste time with preambles. Just go into what it is you have to say, because we're just able to devote seconds, maybe in a rare case up to a minute to people who call in. So thank you very much for calling in, but you wasted your opportunity. We do want to hear from people. I don't know what he wanted to say.
Well, I understand. I think he is trying to say that you should give guests more time.
I should give guests more time, and that when guests are speaking, I should just leave it. Don't speak again. Let guests speak.
Anyway,
let guests speak because they are hearing what they want to hear. But there are no more. The customer is always right. But part of what is always right is that there is more than one side to a story.
Of course.
So you have to hear it from this side and also from that side. And since you're not likely,
you see, my main thing now is I want to plead with the government.
Okay.
And the plea is there are security solutions that the government can.
Why has government gone up to, this is like bringing the alarm level to.
Let me be done. You see, there are security solutions that I think the government should urgently look at. If the government is able, for example, to wipe out, let us assume, without conceding that there are people even interested in removing the government, then the question the government should really look inward. Why would anybody be interested in removing this government?
Then address those whys.
And there are some things that are very obvious. The government is so big that it's not easy for Mr. President, I concede. Because even to rule one establishment, it's not an easy task. It's easy for us to analyze here. But when you are put in some position, you now discover that it may be more difficult than you thought. I agree. But there are things that are obvious. Security, the welfare of the people. Now, if these two issues are well addressed, the government won't have issue with somebody want to remove me or not.
Okay.
It is even the people that will defend that government.
Let me take Mr. Adegoke. I beg your pardon, Mr. Olagoke in Ikeja. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, please, I'm a fast talker, but I'll be very slow. Please take me, right? Yeah, the country... Hello?
Carry on, please.
There is fire on the mountain in the country. If we pretend not to know, we are deceiving ourselves. Please note this. There is military coup, there is mutiny. I don't want a situation where the country, mutiny will come up in the country. That will be uncontrollable. Now, somebody once said in this country that he would make the country ungovernable for somebody. Oh, then we know who the person was. I think, sir, the state of insecurity is terrible. It's high in the country. Whether you call this the people herdsmen, bandits, and so on, I don't give a damn with the name you call them. But there is urgent attention. There is urgent intervention with what is happening in the country. Now, if the National Assembly cannot do their job, the feeling now is that they are part and parcel of the executive. There is no separation of power in the country. No separation of power at all. Now, what we should do is this. I am praying, let me be honest with you. I am praying for benevolent military intervention. If that will make me to sleep with my two eyes closed.
Yeah, but we can't even go there. Sorry, sir. We can't even bring that aspect into the conversation. Benevolent or well, no, fortunately, all of us have heard. He himself said
it's a no.
It's an absolute no. And upon mentioning it is where we had to sort of suspend that aspect of the conversation.
It's a no.
Because we have heard from the military themselves, because Mr. Olagoke was speaking about mutiny, he was also speaking about a coup. None of those things are going to happen according to military spokesmen that have, that we have heard from. But for all of that, apart from that last bit, thank you very much for calling in. Now, it still has to be said that a lot of people think we are in a dire situation in this country. We are actually in a dire situation, Jide.
It's not that they think. The Sultan of Sokoto cried out, governors, Uncle Yori, the governor of Borno State, Zulum, lost about 18 security details to bandits, whether they are
so these are very unusual security occurrences. Very unusual.
God spared his life from them.
Look at Autumn.
When you talk about bandits are criminals who operate in a lawless community. Is Nigeria a lawless community? Is Nigeria a lawless community?
So
And people kill them. Okay, when the Constitution says in Section 14, subsection 2 of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. When the primary purpose of government cracks, then how do we go to the secondary purpose? The secondary purpose is to industrialize the nation, create wealth, create employment opportunities, begin to fight the foundations of crime. But here we are grooming the foundation of crime. Mr. For you to mention something in the course of this program, and you can do it. Drive to Lekki, drive around Lagos. We are in Lagos here. You see human beings everywhere with what capacity of HR? If you want to apply for dual citizenship in some small countries of the world, they will so profile you that you'll be amazed at what is the big deal about society. And we just have different kinds of elements, and the government is admitting it. Rebels from Libya, from everywhere. Who are the people bringing them in to invade us? Do you want to wreck the country? These are questions on our minds. And can we come together to rescue this country? We trust the government to do it. If the government cannot do it, do we fold our arms and go to bed?
No, okay, I hear you, but which is what the government continues to say to us day in, day out. They are working on round the clock.
Uncle Yori, if you're an employer, do you pay an employee? Do you pay an employee for doing his best, or you paying for results? You don't pay for efforts. Are you there? You don't pay anybody for effort. You pay for results as an entrepreneur. As it is now, the people are the employer of the government, and they are saying your efforts are not yielding the desired result. But you are seeing it, excuse me, you are seeing it from an internal perspective, and you are saying you are doing a lot. But your a lot is not. Now look at it. Your a lot is the absence of military personnel in all villages in Nigeria. Your a lot is to the extent that Commissioner of Police is not answerable to the governor, and the governor is the chief security officer of his own state. It is to the extent that even people cannot defend themselves. To the extent that as we speak now, there are people that if you hit their Okada or they hit you, the whole thing is that they are right. Irrespective of, because if you are alive from your vehicle, before you count 1, 2, 3, 20 of them have surrounded your vehicle. Take them to the police station. Before you know what is happening, it's a dead case. Now, I've had a situation where somebody invested money as in money to farm, and everything, about 10 million naira, wiped away. And you know what? When they call community and everything to settle the matter, do you know the compensation? 10,000 naira. The man said he wanted to commit suicide. But there was nothing he could do. What are we talking about? Is that the definition of a sane society we are talking about?
The very discouraging aspects of the society, such as we have been speaking about. You probably remember how I wish Femi Adesina were able to also be on this program.
Femi Adesina will not be on the program for now.
He would have been.
He will not be on the program for now.
He had a Federal Executive Council meeting to
attend. There will always be excuse for him not to be on the program for now, because the lashes that Nigerians will lash him. But I'm sure he will not be prepared for it.
But the point I wanted to make is that you gentlemen are both witness to the fact that even the president has said he is not satisfied with the best that has been done by the security outfits so far. Meanwhile, Mr. Kesandu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
You see, it is a clear indication that we will live in a failed society. These are all the things that is happening in this country. But I will not be in support of anything that will not be democratically done. The truth about it is that some people sacrifice so much for us to be where we are, although we don't feel comfortable about it. I think all we should be talking about, if there must be a way to remove the present government, it has to be a true democratic process, which is impeachment. Because the government has actually shown, with all this is right, that they have actually failed Nigerians and themselves. So we should be talking about only impeachment, which is the only democratically accepted thing that we can take. But the truth about it is that this whole information that is making around town now, the country now, is a clear indication that Mr. President should go back to his drawing board. He should now see that nobody is happy with the state of the nation. Everybody is not happy. All we are saying is that, Mr. President, you need to act presidential. Go back to the drawing board. Take away these psychopaths that are telling you that all is well, all is well. All is not well in this country. And if it continues like this, we have no option but to tell the National Assembly, please do your job. Do your...
Okay. Well, thank you very much for calling in. The one thing that is clear by Femi Adesina's publication of this release is that the noise is such that no matter the distance, it has gotten back to them that people are quite frankly unhappy. They're unhappy because they're insecure. We have stories that look like out of badly written movie scripts where kids are kidnapped, undergraduates are kidnapped. They got together to pay the ransom. Parents on their own. You betray them. You take the money. You don't release the kids. You now ask for more money, and it's going on like as if we're in a state of anarchy. So at least this statement has shown that those people in governance have heard and have seen, and they know that it's not a joke. Now they are saying that they will take whatever step is necessary to ensure that Nigeria's mandate, the mandate of Nigerians handed to Mr. President will indeed be protected. And it doesn't matter, it's like whatever the cost. They're saying something to me, yeah? Mr. Abimbola, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
This is my first time calling, and I'm really impressed with your two guests. I celebrate the two guests. I respect you a lot. But, sir, you are sounding as if you are part of these people.
Oh, you don't want to hear their own side at all. You don't want to hear their own side as published. Oh, please, carry on, sir.
We don't want to hear their story.
But you see, that is not the way it works, sir. That's not the way journalism works. But carry on, sir, for a while.
Said, I really love what they said. How I wish they are the one in this shoe. Let us start bombing everywhere, kidnap their children, doing all those things. Let the youth get aggravated and start to manifest the demon in them. I think their sense will come to normal.
Okay.
Because we how can you imagine someone's children being kidnapped for days? Haba. Please, are we human beings or we are animals?
All right then. Thank you very much. Message received. Thank you very much. I don't think I need to comment on that, but on the fact that there's always more than one side to a story. And you gentlemen are doing an evidently excellent job putting it across. Everybody that's called in has commended you guys, even Mr. Fit joined. But there are other aspects to the story. There are other aspects to the story which must be told. I'm glad that you people are happy here. You're smiling. But
we are smiling because we know you can't join. We know you can't join. You know the reason why you can't join.
Oh, well, I think we did our job. It's a news item that came out. We've looked at it, and you have given. I would have wanted Femi Adesina. I actually spoke to him, and I want him to come. I would have wanted him to come on, and you just stay in the middle and just speak for your own side when these people would have spoken. But unfortunately, Mr. Femi Adesina said that that's no problem, but he does have a Federal Executive Council meeting to attend. Otherwise, he would have been with us. And without prejudice, I take the comments that have been coming in, but there's always more than one side to the story. I want to thank you, Dr. Tony Ofoyetan, and Mr. Jide Ologun, as well as all the callers that called in there. Thank you as well for contributing to the matter. I am Iyori Falarin. Bye-bye for now.